Hello, welcome to the channel and welcome back to Resurwreck Autos HQ. So guys, it is Friday and finally I've got the head back from the Peugeot. Back from the machine shop, guys. It's only took a week, but yeah, they're very busy guys. And yeah, it is what it is. I'll never moan about things like that. So let's, I'll show you the head. I'll explain what we've got to do before we put the head back onto the car, because we've got to do a few bits and pieces. And then, yeah, we're going to put it back in and then put it all back together and then just see how it goes. Let's do this. Right, okay, guys, look how nice and clean and shiny that is. Oh, yes, very good. It's, you know, they just go all over it and they check it. They've reseated the new valves. You can see there, all seated down. I did question these little marks here that's been left on the actual head face. You can see them, there's just a few right around. And they just basically said, well, the machine obviously cuts it flat, really sort of minimal amount taken off that actual face. They could have gone further, but then that would have mean the head gasket would have been, you have to get a thicker head gasket. And it just, yeah, he said it's absolutely fine where it is. He said you're not going to cause no problems with that. He said it's flat. So, you know, they're the experts at the end of the day. But yeah, everything looks flat. That side as well. On the other side as well, that looks flat. So it's good. It's all clean. It's ready to go. I do want to, like I said, I do want to do a couple of bits to this before we actually put this head back in. Three things actually. Three things I want to do. First thing is going to put this back in place there like that, because you've got to put some sealant around here and then set it in place and then do it up and then torque it up to spec. But I want to make sure that that's done off on the bench, because it's a lot harder to do that when it's on the car. So I think it's best to do it now. The other thing as well, I want to put the spark plugs back in place. 3, 4. And then the intake on top as well. Do that up, torque it down. And then the whole head, the back of the car is then complete. And then the head can just go on top. And all I've got to do is connect the front exhaust and torque it all down. Obviously got a new head gasket here, and the new head bolts are there as well. There's a certain sequence you've got to do. Normally you start from the middle, and then so they'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. So basically you work from the middle and you're working outwards both ways. I think I'll torque it down. I think it's 20 Newton meters. I think it is, and then 20 degrees, and then the whole sequence, and then another 20 degrees, because these are stretch bolts. These ones, so that extra degrees actually pulls them down and stretches the bolts. So, but yeah, you know, I've got all the specs online. I'll check all the details, what we need to find, all the, you know, torque settings and all that sort of stuff. I'll find all that. And then, yeah, we should be good to go. But the other thing we've got to do before I put that head on, so we'll get that head ready to go on. But before it goes on, I've got to do something else. And that is, we've got to time the bottom end. And obviously, we've done the water pump, which is on the side there. We've done that in the last video. So that's done. But we've got to time up the bottom end. When you put the head back on, it's best to keep the pistons like that so that they're not high, really, because then the actual valves, when you're messing around with the valves on the top, they're not touching the actual pistons. So down there, there's a hole that there's that you lock in the crank. So we've got to turn the actual crank bolt on that side until we get that pin in place, And then we know, well, I know that that is the bottom end locked. So then what I'll do is I'll mark that pulley on the bottom there, mark it on the body and the pulley. And then I know that when we put that marking on that bit there, it's locked in place. We'll put that pin in, and then we can put the head on. And then I'll move the pistons back so they're like this. And then we'll put the head on, and then we'll move it back into the time. Do you see what I mean? So there's a bit of a process to this, really, but it won't take long. It's not that hard. And I've got to clean this face off as well. I just want to get a little bit of sandpaper and a block, and then just block that off flatter than what it is. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it goes today. Hopefully we can get it done, but it just really does depend on what happens around the shop, what comes in, who wants to talk to me. It all has a bit of an effect on the daily goings. But let's just crack on, guys. I'll set you up. Let's get this set first, and then we can move on. So yeah, let's do this. Right, okay. So guys, there we go. That is the head all ready and set to go back on top of the engine. Put the spark plugs in, put this cover, side, thermostat thing. I think it's a thermostat. Yeah, I think it's a thermostat. It's in there. Thermostat housing. Let's call it that. So yeah, stuck all that back in place, done up the bolts nice and tight, and I just put all the sealant all around. You know, it's been about an hour now, really, and that's going to sort of set really nice. Put the air intake as well back on, and I've done up the bolts apart from this one here in the middle, because there is a bracket that goes on that there, but that's easy enough to get to once we put the head back on the car. So yeah, now that's all ready to go back on. Going to turn our attention now to the actual engine itself, and we're going to be working out now all this. Going to clean that top off first, and then we're going to deal with the timing of the engine. Oil, I think oil was leaking from this corner as well, from the head gasket. So it's a good job that we've done this anyway. So we'll clean all that up down there, get some oil, brake cleaner and stuff like that, and just clean all that up. But we need to get, I don't know if I can show you this, but there's a hole right down there where you lock up the crank. So I've got to work out where that is and get a pin or some sort of locking tool to try and lock that in place. And then once I've locked it in place, it's probably going to be, because this is a Peugeot engine, that cylinder 1, this one here. So once that's right at the top, this cylinder, that should be a hole there for that pin. So yeah, I've just got to work it out, guys, and then once I've worked it all out, I'm going to mark it where it is on there, so that when we move it so that the 4 cylinders are lined up to put the head on, I can then move it back into place, and it should be locked in time in the position. So yeah, a little bit fiddly, a little bit to work out, but let's get set up and do that now. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, guys, let me just give you a quick update what's going on. As you can see there's an Allen key there, which is pinned into the actual flywheel. And you can see that these two ends are up high. So that is the timing set for the bottom end. The top end is pretty easy, but it's the bottom end that I want to make sure that I've got right. So what I'm going to do, I've had a little bit of a clean up on the side of the engine, and I've just got to have a little bit more clean up on the front end here. But you can see now, all I'm going to do is mark it on the top with a white marker, and that's where I know that is in the correct position to put it back in time. Because what I want to do now is now I know that that's where the timing point is, I can mark it up, release that pin, move the crank so that the pistons are level, and then the head can then go on in place. But I don't want to put the head on whilst it's in this position here, because the valves, when you put it down and tighten it up, the valves might hit the pistons. So you always do it so that the pistons are level, all four are level. But, I wanted to make sure that the timing was right and correct in the right position. And now it is. I've put a pin in there, and it's absolutely solid. I can't even move it. So that pin is locked in time. So, yeah, just need to explain that, really, because, it's not. I'm not doing a how-to video. I'm just doing a how I'm doing it video, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, but now I'm happy that that's in the correct position. We're going to do the other bits. I'm going to mark it all up and continue with this. So, yeah, very, very good. So far, so good. I'll set you back up. Let's do this. Right, okay, guys, going really, really well. No issues putting the head back into place. Don't get me wrong, I had to do certain things. So, do you know the where the bolts holes are on the bottom? I got an airline, and then just sort of blew out all the sort of stuff that was inside the bolt holes. So don't worry about that. That was done. Then head gasket down. Then the head back on in place. A little bit of oil on the end of each bolt, and up the thread a little bit just to help it. It says that in the actual package where you get these as well. So that was done. We have got to adjust these rockers, tappets, sorry. I've got to adjust these tappets here on the exhaust side and the intake side. Very slightly different sizes for the feeler gauge, but we'll do that in a minute. But before we've got to do that, we've got to continue with the head bolts. At this point, this position, I've only put them down to 20 Newton meters all across, starting from the middle, going outwards. And now, as you can see, I've marked them with this white paint on the top at 12 o'clock. So on every single one. So the next stage is 120 degrees tightened up. Again, start from the middle, work your way out. Once you've done that, it's another 120 degrees. Again, start in the middle, work your way out. And once I'm finished doing those two sequences, that little mark there, the white one at 12 o'clock, that should be down here somewhere at about 8 o'clock. All the same. Once that's done, then I know that the sequence is finished after those two. Then we can continue. But I just wanted to explain what I was doing, really. So I'll set you back up. Let's now get the degrees done. 120 degrees once, 120 degrees twice, and then we can continue. So, yeah, let's do this. Right, okay, guys, there we go. So both sequences is done, and you can see all the bolts have ended up in the 8 o'clock position. You can see it just there. So they're all in the same location and the same order. So the head now is all torqued up. I have put some oil over these. I have put in the spark plugs. I'm going to remove those so we can turn this over and adjust this tappets now on the inlet and the exhaust side. The inlet side, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 20 mil, and the exhaust side is 30 mil. So now I'm going to set up and we're going to adjust those tappets. Let's do this. Right, okay, guys, we are getting there. Slowly getting there. And I'd rather take my time, step by step, just really sort of concentrate and really sort of, you know, do things step by step here. So, as you can see there, you've got, let me just set that torch up a minute. There's always a problem in it, light. You can see my markings just there, and it's absolutely spot on. This pin here, that goes into the top. So what I did was first was obviously done the tappet, adjusted all those tappets so they're in the right position now, where they should be. And then what I do, I turned the top engine over, pinned the top bit, and then I turned the bottom of the engine round so those markings were in line. So now, put the belt on with the tensioner. It's not tensioned properly yet. I haven't pulled the pin because you've got to pull that pin there. And then you've got to adjust it with a 6mm Allen key and then tighten it up when it's a little bit, when it's sort of tight, you know. So I haven't done that side of it yet because I'm just double checking and making sure that it's all in the correct position, lined up, and it does. Everything seems to be in the correct position, timed and lined up. So yeah, but I'm getting there, slowly getting there. Done the exhaust as well. Put the new exhaust gasket in between, and done up the front end of the exhaust. So that's done. So I'm just going through it, really, just going through the motions and just getting things done. I know this ain't going to be finished today. We'll have to finish this off on Monday. But let me just see what else I can get done for today. What I want to try and do is do that tensioner, tighten that up, and then I want to take off these pins and stuff, and then turn the engine over and around and make sure that the pin goes back in and the marking is lined up as well. So that's what I want to do next. So I'll set you up. Let's do this. Right, okay, so guys, there we go. The belt and everything is all tensioned up, and I've spun the engine round 3 or 4 times just to make sure, and the markings all line back up spot on where it should be. And that one in there as well. Can't show you that one in there. That one in there. But yeah, I am confident as I can be that is okay. But yeah, you know, I'm just sort of, you know, taking my time with it, but I'm going to end it there. And we're going to come back to this on Monday. We're going to button everything back up. We're going to turn that key and see if it's okay and it runs well. Fingers crossed it does. It should do. It's pretty basic. It's only one sort of cam on this one. So, yeah, that's all I can do for today. But it's going well, I believe. I think it is anyway. I feel confident that it's, you know, I'm not rushing it. I'm just taking my time. If I was doing this all day, every day, you could do them quicker. But I'm not doing this all day, every day, am I? It's not what I do. So, yeah, it is what it is. And I'm sure when we come back Monday, button it all up, put it all back together, I'm sure it, you know, we're going to have no problems with it. But you just never know. So, I am going to leave it there for today. It is Friday, guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday when we're going to put all this back together, and fingers crossed for the customer, and, you know, we ain't got to sort of do anything else to it. But, yeah, have a great weekend. Don't forget, drop me a comment and let me know how you think I'm going. Give the video a thumbs up. I really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you on Monday, guys. Thanks for watching. See you soon.